What is up, Upcycle team members? It's your boy Win, the Upcycle Wizard, and we are resizing the Dants Pants pattern today. If you've seen my tutorial or you've used the pattern, you know that it can be sewn from size 32 to 36, but I'm going to be showing you how to resize it today from size 28 up until 32, and then also you can do the same steps and get it from waist size 26 to 30. So, it's a relatively basic principle, and I know there's tons of ways to resize patterns. This is the way that I use for this pattern. The pieces you will need to resize the pattern are the back panel, front panel, the pocket facing, as well as the pocket bag. Basically, all that we are going to be doing is downsizing the pattern by a ½ inch on both sides. And if you would like to go to the smaller size, 26 to 30, you will be doing 3/4 inch on both sides. I'm going to be doing the ½ inch. So coming back to my table, I'm going to be doing the 28 to 32, and that will be downsizing the pattern by a ½ inch on all of these sides. And then you will be able to sew it from anywhere from a 28 to a 32. This is the dart width to sew at the different sizes. And then if you do 3/4 inch, so we're taking 3/4 inch from both sides, then you will be able to do it from a 26 to a 30. I did these numbers in this order, so you can apply it to this chart here, and it will be the same. We are going to be starting off with the front panel and then the front pocket piece, pocket bag, as well as the pocket facing, because these all come together to make the front piece. We can pretty much imagine the two pieces lined up like this. So this is the front piece, and then the pocket bag. When you sew it, obviously, the pocket bag will be folded over, but as far as laying it out to resize it, this is the side seam right here. So we are going to be taking away a ½ inch from this entire side seam, as well as the crotch curve and the inseam. I have this fancy little wheel tool. So it basically has options for 1/4 inch, ½ inch, whatever. So I'm setting mine at a ½ inch apart, and then I literally have one right on the edge, one onto the pattern, so it'll perfectly mark a ½ inch along the side. So if you have this tool, you could just go right over both of the pieces at marking a ½ inch. But since not everyone has this tool, I'm going to be doing them separately, and instead of doing them at a ½ inch, might seem like a tedious process, and it kind of is, so this tool is literally like $8, but you can take a ruler or a measuring tape and mark at a ½ inch along the whole thing, trace it out with marker, and then trim. Funny that I slightly advertised this tool, not an affiliate, not an ambassador, whatever. And I was tracing and I was putting ultimate pressure, and I ended up actually bending it. So I bent it back into place at a ½ inch, and will be more careful. But as you can see, slightly hard to see, but it is perfectly marking a ½ inch. And since it is quite faint, I would probably come in with pen, marker, whatever, or I would just cut it out. Now that I did it to this side of my pocket bag, I'm going to also be doing it on this edge because, like I said, it will be folded over. Now for the pocket facing, I'm going to just be doing it on this side, and it should be fine. You don't want to have this part be in the fold of the pocket bag. So let's say it is, then you would just do the same thing for the curve, but I think it should be fine. So just this edge. Now for the front panel, I'm going to be going from here all the way down, and then here, the the top, around the curve, and all the way down. Now, before I get too far into the process with my fancy little tool that I kind of just broke, you can see that it is marked at a ½ inch. So with these little dots, with this tool, it's pretty easy to see those, and you can just cut it out. But a wise thing to do if you're resizing the pattern is to put your original pattern on a large piece of paper, trace it out, and then all you would do is go in a ½ inch for the smaller size, or 3/4 inch if you want the smaller size. Now I'm going to be doing the same thing for the back panel. So at a ½ inch or 3/4 inch along this entire side, including the crotch curve, as well as the outseam. I know it's really hard to see those lines I made, but if you do have that little tool, you would just follow the dotted line and cut it out smaller. Or like I said, if you traced out the pattern and went in a 1/2 inch on the crotch curve in the previous ones that I covered, that will be downsizing to the size chart that I showed you. And the final thing I want to mention is the length. So the inseam is roughly 33 inches before the hem. So I made these extra long because it's quite easy to alter your pattern in terms of length. You just take the same amount from the bottom on the back panel as you would the front. But if you're going down to, let's say, the 28 to 32, I would recommend as a starting point doing about 2.5 inches from the bottom. And then if you're doing the 26 to 30, I would start at 3 inches. That is assuming that if you have a smaller waist, that you are shorter. So obviously use the knowledge that you do have. And if you're tall and skinny, maybe keep the length. If you are shorter and you have a smaller waist, I would recommend shortening it at that amount, and quite easy to do. Literally measure up that amount and just do a straight line at the bottom, and do that for the back panel, or sorry, for the front panel as well. All right, Upcycle team members. So I know it might not sound like the most efficient way to downsize a pattern, especially if you're doing it with a marker or pencil and a ruler, but this is how I would do it. And this can be applied to other garments. I wouldn't necessarily follow this exact protocol because it really depends on the pattern. But for my pattern, this is how I would do it. And I hope you enjoyed or were able to extract some sort of value from this video. I love you. Peace and love. Join the upcycle team. Join the sustainable fashion team. Start your upcycling journey today.